Peace, family. It's good to be back. And today we want to talk about the Black Panther effect and the truth about the Black Panther movie. I want to preface what I'm about to say with two quotes from two great black leaders. The first is a quote by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that says that it is the enemy's desire to keep our eyes in the sky while they control the land under our feet. The second quote that I want to use to preface this short talk is by our sister, the great warrior, the great down south Mississippi activist, our dear sister Fannie Lou Hamer. And she said something profound once. She said that anytime the white man gives you anything, you must remember that he will turn right around and take it back. Now, let's talk about the Black Panther movie. Let's talk about the atmosphere that was created before the movie was released that made the movie a great success. First of all, we have to realize that anytime a monumental movie, a box office hit, is put out in Hollywood and the imagination of the people is captured by that movie, it has always been a well-researched and calculated move. Those who put this movie out had every anticipation of it becoming a box office success. Why? Because like wise people, what they do is they study trends and they study the minds and the mentality of the people to determine what it is that they could put out in Hollywood that the people would gravitate toward. So when you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, when you look at the killing of Trayvon Martin, where we saw no justice, and you look at the killing of Eric Garner, where we saw no justice, the killing of Sandra Bland, no justice, the killing of Mike Brown, no justice, and we can go on and on and on and on, naming the countless black men and women who were shot down by law enforcement, and we receive no justice. So black people marched in the streets. We invested in what was called the Black Lives Matter movement or the Black Lives Matter era. But in all of our investments, we didn't see any wins in the courts of law where our brothers and sisters were concerned. Now, as a sidebar, I will say that these cases inspired and encouraged young black people to want to study black history and black consciousness more. So while we were fighting for the Mike Browns of the world, the consciousness of our people was being elevated, even though we did not win these cases in the court of law. The win came about through the elevation of our interest in our own black selves. So you saw a rise in black consciousness, and you saw rappers like Kendrick Lamar coming out with inspiring music that made you proud to be who you are, and at the same time going platinum. Brothers like, what's his name, the artist from North Carolina, J. Cole, doing the same thing. So they saw that not only was black consciousness on the rise, but they saw little hints, little signs that it could be commercialized, marketed, and big money could be made off of our culture and our consciousness. Now, I want you to follow what I'm about to say. So Marvel and Disney, they studied the people, and they knew that this was the time to put out a Black Panther movie, a movie that made black people proud to be themselves. Now, let me say this about the movie. I was invited to come to watch the movie because a friend of mine was hosting her birthday party on the premiere of the movie. the night of the premiere. Now, I'll be honest with you. You all were getting on my nerves with all of this Black Panther stuff. But I went out to see what the movie was about, but I really went out to support my friend. And I was so glad I did, because that movie that came out of the mind of that brilliant brother Ryan Coogler was one of the best movies ever produced. It was one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I believe that after seeing the movie, as a people, from a conscious perspective, we will never be the same. That's how monumental the movie was. But again, Disney knew that the timing was just right for this movie. Disney knew that as a people, we marched in the streets for victims of police brutality, and we saw loss after loss after loss in the courts of America, and Black America was in need of a W. We needed a win. This movie, for many of us, represented that win. This movie, for many of us, was a defining moment. And we went back home and we had conversations saying, man, we've arrived. They hear us. Did you see the way they represented this beautiful place called Wakanda? So much positivity came out of the movie that I became less concerned about the fact that the movie was not made by us and that we didn't make the money off of the movie. Why? Because we have to remember that ideas are always more powerful than money. And the idea of white supremacy was insulted from moment to moment and minute to minute, from reel to reel, from the beginning of to the end of that movie. That movie was an insult to white supremacy. But whoever produced the movie and put it out bit the bullet and said that we'll sacrifice this 2.5 hours of white supremacy in order to make the money. Now, at this time, the movie is approaching $1 billion status. It may have already made it. This movie will go on to make several $1 billion. Now, am I hurt that the movie was not produced by a Black-owned film company? Well, of course. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. The elevation of the consciousness of our children is priceless. So it wasn't just the movie that made the movie a success. What made the movie a success was the buildup. And I'm not talking about the billboards. I'm not talking about the commercials. I'm not talking about the radio ads and the radio spots. I'm not talking about the marquee that they set up at the movie theaters saying that, hey, Black Panther is coming. No, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the millions of dollars in African garb that you went out and purchased just to support the movie. Every Twitter post that you made, every Instagram post that you made, every Facebook post that you made saying, I can't wait to go and see Black Panther, that was free promotion for the Black Panther movie. Hey, and there's no sense in us arguing about it and getting mad at one another. You know, you went out there and you promoted these white folks' movie. Hey, listen, it is what it is. It's already happened. Now, I would love to see us put that same kind of organic cultural promotion behind a Black-owned film. I would love to see that, but that's not the way it happened. So I go and I see the movie. The movie's a wonderful movie, very well put together, near perfect execution. And there are certain things about Black culture and Black liberation that were dropped in the movie by Ryan Coogler that I don't even think the white folks at Disney caught it. I don't even think the white folks at Marvel caught it. They've let it cat out of the bag, but at some point they're going to try and put it back in. Why? Because our sister Fannie Lou Hamer said it to us. Anything that white folks give you, they have the power to take it back. So we saw the movie. Some saw it twice. Some saw it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. It's a great movie. But the question that has to be asked right now is, what are we going to do now? Now, I started with that quote by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that said that it is the enemy's desire to keep our eyes in the sky while he controls the land under our feet. Every time you go to see the Black Panther movie, and I don't blame you, it's a great movie that depicts black people in a light unlike we've probably ever seen. But every time you go see the movie, you're looking up at the movie screen. But you have to remember that somebody else still controls the land under your feet. So, the Black Panther movie can either be a moment for black people, or it can be the catalyst to propel a movement for black folks. There's no use in sitting around, my dear brothers and sisters who are activists, boycotting the movie. The movie has already taken off. There's no sense in debating back and forth with your brothers and sisters about how they shouldn't have gone to see the movie. They already saw it. So we don't cry over spilled milk. We use it to make cornbread. That being said, if you are an activist, if you are a developer who wants black people to own land in your community, if you run a nonprofit where you're helping black people, if you have a STEM program where you're trying to help black children, the messages in the movie, no matter who owns the movie, it softens the hearts of the people. It softens the minds of the people and opens them up to listen to your message all the more. If you are a teacher of consciousness, the people's hearts have been softened toward what you have to say. Don't waste time fighting with them over a movie. Just teach them what it is that you have to offer them, and hopefully what you have to offer them is good. Now, it's important for me to say that, because if we can't on one hand complain about this being white people's movie, but at the same time we're fighting one another over white people's movie, let's not do that. Let's take advantage of the Black Panther effect, because if we don't, white folks will. Now, this is what I really wanted to say today. The other day, I'm watching television. An Lexus commercial comes on. What do I see on the commercial? 2 characters from the Black Panther movie driving a Lexus. Then today I get a phone call stating that Barbie, the company that produces Barbie dolls, have begun the process of production of a line of historical black female figures. Think about it. What do you think is happening here? They are recognizing that this movie has captured the hearts and the imagination of people all over the world, and they are looking to cash in. While we are arguing about whether or not we should go and see the movie, white America, corporate America, capitalist America, and these multinational corporations are already creating products so that they can cash in on Black Panther mania. And when they do so, they're cashing in on your culture. They're cashing in on black consciousness. They're cashing in on the inspiring culture of the African continent. This is something that we should be taking advantage of and not them. So everybody's talking about Wakanda. And the reason we keep going to see the movie is because while we're sitting in that theater, it makes us feel good. We've developed an emotional attachment to the idea and the thought of Wakanda. But we're sitting in the theater and looking up at the screen while somebody else, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, is controlling the land underneath our feet. What are you saying, Brother Deric? I'm saying that as much as I love the movie, we can't allow this movie to become a drug. What does a drug do? A drug activates certain elements of the body that give you a high, but it's a false high. It's an induced high. The greatest high that man or woman could ever achieve is the high that you get from envisioning something in your mind and making it and bringing it into reality with your hands. That produces the greatest high. But what people wish to do when they take drugs or drink alcohol is circumvent the process of releasing those dopamines that give you the high. And so we keep going back and smoking, snorting, shooting up, or however it is we get high. We keep going to get high. Why? Because we have yet to produce the real thing that would make us high in real life. So it's time for us to talk Wakanda. It's time for us to have some serious conversations, make some serious plans, and meticulously execute a plan in every community to make every community a sign of this Wakanda. Going back and forth to the theater to watch the movie is only going to make you feel better about it. But the condition of our people has not changed. So the Black Panther movie, yeah, the movie belongs to them. But the movement belongs to us. We must use this movie as motivation and inspiration for us to get up and do something for ourselves. What was brilliant about the movie is that the movie gave us a very powerful picture of what our unity looks like. That's priceless. No matter how much money Marvel is making off of the movie, that is priceless. However, the Black Panther movie will inspire many people, black, brown, white, and other, to go and purchase African inspired attire. The question becomes, who are they going to buy it from? Who are they going to buy it from? The Black Panther movie will inspire many young brothers and sisters to go and study Black history, which will down the line produce more scholars. Again, the movie was an insult to white supremacy. But who's going to educate these scholars if we don't build our own schools? The Black Panther movie is going to inspire many of our young people to go into the science and technology film because they want to be like, I can't think of the character's name, but the little sister who in her brilliant way was creating these apparatuses to fight the enemy and to build a new world. You're going to have little black girls that want to get involved in STEM. But once they get their science and technology and engineering education, if we don't have businesses that we've built in order for them to come and work in black owned businesses, they're going to take their knowledge to white corporations. Brothers and sisters, our condition will never change unless we unite and get up and do. So as we study this movie, we must also be mapping out our strategy on every block, on every corner, every street, every neighborhood, every community, every city, every county, all across this country. There has to be a plan for Wakanda. Now, if we are expecting white people to hand over their power over us without a fight, then we are greatly deluded. We are high off of the Black Panther drug if we believe that. There's gonna have to be some sacrifice if we're going to achieve what we witnessed on the screen. You can start with where you spend your money. Instead of buying Gucci, instead of buying Tom Ford, instead of spending your monies with Michael Kors, go and spend your money with your brother. Because ain't gonna be no Wakanda if we don't circulate the black dollar more than 6 hours a day. And that's where we are right now. The black dollar only circulates in our community for 6 hours before it leaves. So it's time to stop talking Wakanda, and it's time for us to develop a lifestyle that will help us to build a black nation. Now, I talked about these big brand designers. The demand for African-inspired attire is on the rise. Don't be surprised if Michael Kors comes out with a limited edition dashiki, puts it in Saks Fifth Avenue, charges you $1,800 for a dashiki. And if black people will line up and form a line around the corner to go and buy an $1,800 dashiki from Michael Kors, which I don't doubt that this will happen. If you let somebody else sell you your culture and price gouge you in the process, then the Black Panther movie was a waste. It was just a waste. So what I'm saying is, I love the movie. I love the movie. You're not going to get me to hate on that movie. It was a beautiful movie and brilliantly executed. But the movie in and of itself is not a victory. The movie is but an opportunity for us to gain or win battle after battle after battle after battle until we gain the victory. And the last thing I'll say is this. Remember what I told you. Fannie Lou Hamer, she said it wisely. Anything white people give to you, they'll take it back. So Black Panther movie 1, the one that we just saw, which is only the first installment, it was empowering for black people. And I know some of you were saying, well, you know, they had the white guy in there from the CIA and he saved Wakanda. I didn't see it like that. The way I saw it is, just like they have a movie full of white heroes and they put a black character in there to be the mascot, I felt like the white boy was just a mascot. And the only contribution that he made to the saving of Wakanda came at the instruction of the young black sister who said, listen, get in the car. I've made it dumb enough so that you can understand it and follow my directions if you want to be of help. I think it was a great movie. I love the way they cast Killmonger in the movie, because Killmonger, though he went to war with T'Challa, in the end, this guy, Ryan Coogler, this brother, he found a way to still make Killmonger a hero. There were really no black villains in the movie, which was great because it didn't give a depiction of black disunity. It was just a beautiful movie, and you're hearing it from somebody who didn't even expect much from the movie. But again, the movie is just the opportunity. Lexus is already taking advantage of the opportunity. Barbie is already taking advantage of the opportunity. What are you and I going to do? So going to the theater to check it out, that's good. But that's just step one. Right now, what we need is for you to make a conscious decision that you are going to use your gift, your talent, and take the inspiration from the movie to go back into your community to make your community a better place. And then we'll find ourselves on the way to building a Wakanda. The movie belongs to them, but the movement belongs to us. Let's act like it. Peace.